Don't you worry, never fear. Super Pack will be here.
Yes. We might as well just turn it down now. Okay. Yep. Get our feedback on. That out. Hey, everybody. Working out some technical kinks here.
Hi, I'm the king.
Hey.
I mean,
Got London Lass here with me today. Let's go ahead and go to the big old chatting screen. My big old caricature. Everybody, welcome to Super Pack Junior, which is me. Right, today we're going to play arcade versus console, and I have my special guest here, London Lass.
Yo.
And she's going to prove to the world how terrible I am at this game. Oh boy, it's been a while since I played this. I see that we have literally. Okay, I see the studio. Hey Ben, how you doing, man? Oh, he's got the he's got the popcorn ready. Yeah. True. Heard the rumors. They're the rumors. Absolutely. Oh boy. Well, let's get this over with, then, shall we? We got 5 games to look at today, all of which are Mortal Kombat, the first title.
Woohoo!
Mortal Kombat was created by Ed Boon and John Tobias from Midway, and they were going to develop a game. Midway wanted them to develop a game within a year, combat game. At least you aren't fighting the AI, and then the secondness will fit in. Well, yeah, you know it's funny. I never really got into Mortal Kombat when it first came out because I was already a professional gamer at that point. You did, yeah, and a lot of people did. But I wasn't into the big blood and guts thing. I was more into action platform. Although I did love Contra, so you didn't see too many blood, but you saw guns, and.
Later one. Saw blood and guts like people.
Oh sure. In fact, it was this game and Night Trap that was responsible for ESRB because of all the parents that were complaining. ESRB, that would be the Entertainment Rating Board thingy for all the video games back in the day. Still out to today, as a matter of fact. So let's take a look at the. Let's go to the pictures. What the hell? I heard MK was supposed to be an action game with Jean-Claude Van Damme. His character turned into Johnny Cage. Yeah, actually that is true. He was committed to another game that never actually came out, and then of course Street Fighter the movie came out shortly thereafter. But he had plenty of time to do that one. So this was actually supposed to have been a Jean-Claude Van Damme vehicle. You're absolutely right. So let's take a look at the pictures. There it is, as a matter of fact. Mortal Kombat. In fact, I was actually supposed to go to, but I didn't. So therefore, let me go back to the pictures and start back again. Good job, Pack. Right. There it is. That's the E-Machine, Mortal Kombat. Saw plenty of those back at the big arcade that I used to go to back in my heyday of this crap. Back in 1992. My God. Over 30 years old. A little bit more. Okay. Mortal Kombat, there it is. One and only machine. What a game it was. It actually is considered one of the greatest fighting games of all time, believe it or not. Midway made a ton of money off this. And of course, subsequently, a little bit later, Mortal Kombat 2, and then a couple years after that, Mortal Kombat 3, and even after that, Mortal Kombat 4, and that's where it kind of stopped in the arcade, but it continued on and on and on. The arcade game. There's your overall controls. Console game, yes. For a minute. As you can see, it's a rather complex bit of a fighting style there. You got crouching, you got running, you got jumping, you got kicking, you got punching, you got guarding. All kinds of neat things here. Boy, did it take up a lot of quarters. And what's nice about this game, it's still being made to this very day, thanks to Arcade 1-Up. 1-Up is still came out for consumers, more affordable version. But if you take a look, it looks very much like the original arcade cabinet. So, good on them. You can still buy it to this day and kind of decorate your house, your favorite room, your living room, your bathroom. Sure, why not? Your basement. In Florida, now that you've doxed us. Oh, you haven't. That's right, I have. All right. And it's funny, you can now get Mortal Kombat 2 through Arcade 1-Up as well. And it includes Mortal Kombat 1 and 3, Ultimate 3, as well. So, yeah, Mortal Kombat is still available today, and you can even buy a little itty-bitty version like that. Just thinking. That's kind of cool, actually. That is really kind of cool to adorn your collection with something like that. Try me, yeah. You could actually hit the button and a little demonstration. And to this very day, they're laughing it up as they're fighting. Sure.
Well, she beats him, and then he gets upset. And his masculinity is threatened.
I love the stills that they do. They get two people and say, "Hey, it look like you're having a great time." Ta-da! Sure. Now, what gets me is that you can find the Fix-It Felix. That is the Fix-It Felix. So the people who make the Fix-It Felix game, or the little zombies like that, they combat as well. It's not a real game. No, if you take a look at it, it looks like it's built off a Donkey Kong cabinet. Just to aside for a second. There it is. It looks like a Donkey Kong cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
but
not.
It looks like a Rampage house.
Looks like a Rampage house, yeah. Fix-It Felix. It was actually available to play online while the movie was out. Realize I'm covered. Ben says, it's one of the few WB game franchises to make money today. Of course, they'll land out IP and print. Yeah, that's true.
Lest we forget that they've had Freddy Krueger.
Actually, they've done quite a bit.
And Alien.
They've done quite a bit to the game. I have to admit.
Added the Xenomorph.
They added characters that they actually have IPs, intellectual properties. And of course, that means DC characters entered the field. New line cinema. Freddy Krueger. Good look. So Midway and Warner Brothers they're still doing their thing.
Want to see Bugs Bunny?
I would love to see Daffy Duck and Scorpion. That'd be great. Just once I want to guess be from a fighting game. Well, that's the thing, I think. Midway did make other fighting games, but they weren't nearly as popular. But they did it under Atari games. That's the other catch to that. The Atari games like Pit Fighter and Primal Rage were fairly popular, but not under the Midway label. But Atari games, that's kind of a toss-up because of the fact that there are really two Atari identities. There's the arcade version, which is Atari games. Then there's everything prior to that, which is Atari. And it's kind of a, like I said, it's kind of a legal twist tie as far as who owns what, who can use what. So that's Atari literally kind of lost a ton of money and they had to sell their souls to stay afloat. Back in the late 80s when. So, yeah. And there's the greatest logo in the world, in my opinion. I actually have a big one of those. My inventory was Mortal Kombat 4. It actually sat on a pole, spun around like those old-style gas stations. Get people's attention. Let's take a look at the home versions. We're going to compare the original game to. We got the Sega Genesis version. Sega Genesis was made by Arena, developed by Probe. And I dare say this is the one to have if you had a Sega Genesis. You pretty much had this game. But if you had a Super Nintendo, well, you got the Acclaim version, which was not done by Probe. And this kind of was the console war. Do you have the Sega Genesis?
Yes.
Or would you buy the Super Nintendo if you were like me and had both consoles? So which one did you buy? Bought both? Remember, the games themselves, getting expensive at this. Talking about $30, $40, $50 games in the 90s here. And okay, we were both out of high school. How about that? We were 18 plus. Okay. Yeah. See, both 18 plus years old. We were both young adults, full of life, vibrant. So we played video games. So which one did you get? Did you get Genesis, or did you get the Super Nintendo? You got both, right?
I did.
But what if you didn't have both consoles? What did you get?
I had.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny. The Super Nintendo, not the same for this game. This is '93. Both these. Both consoles had them at the same. But they had two different developers, which was rather odd. I know Tobias made games after he left Midway, but not sure who owns the rights to them or if he still develops games. Well, to be clear, it kind of works in a different way. It's the intellectual property who owns it. In this case, it would be Warner Brothers. John Tobias can step in and say, "Hey, I have an idea," and Warner Brothers say, "Hey, great, bye." That's kind of how it works.
That's coming out in 19. Idea.
Yeah.
I had other things coming out in.
Yeah, I've heard
my
about
children.
That. Yeah. Well, needless to say, like I said, we're both young adults. I was actually hanging out in the arcades as well as going to college. Woo! Yes! Yay me!
Yes.
Did homework.
Already graduated.
Now, if you wanted to play this game on the go, yes, you were lucky. If you had a Game Boy, you got that. God.
My dad had that.
Did he really? Oh, he really had this.
Yes, he did.
Wow. Okay. I've never played this. I've sold a few of these over the years. Back when I was doing it professionally. How did I know this? How did I not know this existed? Well, yeah, you don't expect it, but if you take a look at this little symbol up here, let's see if I can. Oops. Yeah, thanks. Try it again. Game Link. So, here's the deal. You had a Game Boy. You had a Mortal Kombat. I had a Game Boy. I had a Mortal Kombat. I got my chocolate in your peanut butter. You got your peanut butter in my chocolate. And we linked the two together, and we played the game. And that's how we played two-player Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy. You had to buy a Game Link. You had to have the Game Boy and, of course, the cartridge. And there you go. What's the Game Gear?
Bigger Game Gear. It was a handheld system similar to.
I'm crying already.
Similar to the Game Boy, only in color and from Sega.
Oh God.
Yes, I had one. I loved my Game Gear.
Crying. Yes, Game Gear was the Sega's version of a portable gaming system. We consider it here at Super Pack. We consider it a console, largely because of the fact that it has interchangeable media. So things like the PSP.
Thank you, Street.
Not a Sega fan. Sorry.
Oh, Vin.
Why not? We embrace Sega here. Anyway, I am a Sega fan. I've loved Sega. I'm a Nintendo fan. I love video games in general. As long as they make good games, I will play them, enjoy them. But I was never really.
I like video games.
Yeah. I'm being a video game collector. I rooted for certain companies. I love Capcom. I love Konami. Again, ones that made some really good games. Now, there are some companies out there, like I won't mention Universal Vivendi, but they didn't make that many good games. They did have
NBC.
They actually even had a vendor that came to our store, and whenever asked us how the games were doing, we lied. Growing up with Nintendo and PlayStation, by the time I was an adult, Sega had just ran out of consoles. The last console they put out was the Sega Dreamcast. That occurred back on September 9th, 1999. They had a midnight launch, and I was there in the store working it and making sure that people behave themselves. Touch.
All 4 people bought it.
Actually, it sold very well. One of the big Achilles' heels that was simply publishers. Electronic Arts made a statement, made a very loud statement too. They went out of their way to say that we're not going to Dreamcast. Funny though that Mortal Kombat Gold, the launch title for the Dream, essentially was Mortal Kombat 4, but it had a bit of a flaw. It didn't want to work in your system. So there's that.
The bang on the drum.
Going back to the Game Gear, it's the color version of a portable Mortal Kombat, and it was. I'd rather play it on this, the Sega Nomad, which was a Sega Genesis portable, and you could even hook it up to your. It behaved like a controller. You could hook up a second controller to it. Phaser. It was pretty big, as you can see, compared to the Pac-Man thing. Yeah, it was actually pretty big. It ate batteries like anything, but it was really cool. So there you go, Mortal Kombat. So you can have your chance to play it there. We're gonna get the emulator all fired up in just a second. Don't go away. Mortal Kombat. Watch London Lass beat the crap out of me. Stay tuned. And one of the neat things about this game is that you really had to sit there and watch it boot up. Okay, why is it? I have it on. I have the F10 down. There you go. Hang on. I want to turn that down just a skosh. This was a loud game. I remember its default settings over at the arcade, and it literally could blow away your eardrums if you weren't careful. Still easier than fighting the AI, I say so. We're gonna credits in here. Hit 2-player. You ready?
Yeah.
Liu Kang.
Get this one. We're off to a rip-roaring start. Probably helpful, actually.
Liu Kang wins.
What?
Fight.
I actually prefer games like Virtual Fighter and Street.
Excellent.
Oh, well, I think you're doing a pretty good job all of a sudden. Ooh. Ah!
Zero win.
Suddenly, got it.
No, but I don't know what I'm.
Tell you what, hang on, stop. Comfortable using the buttons, find out what button does what.
That's kind of bad.
I know that punches, I know that blocks, I know that kicks, and I know that punches again. Got it? Got it? Oh, shit. Oh.
Liu Kang wins.
And that's me. I can't. No.
There you go. You got
Raiden.
See? I'm playing Johnny Cage. Everyone loves Johnny Cage, at least on the cabinet. Attacks and lower ones were well low attacks. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Oh!
Raiden.
Oh! What kind of jump was that? I jumped behind you and you fell back in front of you. Oh. Okay. Right in the nuts. Not sure about the control scheme with the control.
Raiden.
Sonya.
Sonya.
Absolutely. And you got the new champ marker. Woohoo! Ah, good start. So anyway, the realistic graphics of people and everything like that. Oh, I'm gonna throw you over there. The realistic graphics is what literally got this game in a little bit of trouble. I always like the second arena fighters when you press the same attack and nothing happens but clipping. Yes.
Sonya wins. Fight.
This might be. Yeah.
Finish her. Raiden wins.
Okay. Yeah. Kano.
Scorpion.
I play Kano now. Watch this. See how none of my punches land? That didn't sound good. What the hell was that? Sound like crunch.
It.
Didn't it?
Kano.
That was headbutt.
Fight. Excellent.
We're in the third era. Let them begin using real martial arts. Yeah, that's true. Well, here they use some of the staff. You gotta remember, all they had to do was like pose and capture some of that motion. That was a crunch.
Scorpion wins.
Yes, you landed on.
No martial art was given the dragon. God. You know, I do that too, but that doesn't have the same effect.
Scorpion wins.
Yeah. Doing too much.
Sub-Zero. Raiden.
Ed Boon even done a special move to get actual voice. Yep. This is pre Toasty.
Toasty!
Thank you.
Zero wins.
Ed Boon overdoes a special move to get actual voice acting until the ninth game. Yeah. This cover is a little hard to reach. Keep chatting, man. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks a lot, buddy. Oh, ah. Notice I can't even shoot like
Raiden wins.
What? I kicked you. How did you win?
had that he had very little health left.
Excellent. Finish him. Raiden wins.
Okay. Play this one.
Liu Kang. Sub-Zero.
That toasted was
Right.
Ah! Close. Close.
One.
Toasted was done by the sound developer MK2. I believe that might be correct.
Wait, he was the Wookiees.
His face was there, but not.
Sub-Zero wins.
Yeah,
Hated Luke. Didn't use an act.
Oh. Ah!
Come on, Luke.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins.
Oh, I did that. Should be.
But you gave me the fist.
Can't win.
Apparently you can.
Scorpion, Raiden.
Okay. 2 wins in a row. One of the 3D games? Well, I know Mortal Kombat 4 was the first of the 3D games. I had to shoot lightning? No.
Scorpion wins.
That's not a Nintendo controller. Yes, I could. So picky. Jeez. Okay, so true story. The true story. We in our store, of course, we had a demonstration unit, and we actually, Tekken 3 was pretty popular.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had an outdoor monitor. We had an outside monitor. Where you could see the VCR was had some pre-recorded stuff, show off. Of course, we had a PlayStation kiosk just on the other side of that wall. Great. Oh. And we decided, because we were like the free arcade, which we weren't, I switched to 2 monitors. But I recorded, stop for a second. I recorded the 2 players doing literally this. And then what happened was that the other player was going up and down in tandem like if they were on a seesaw. And they just did that over and over again. And they go in and play the PlayStation, and the VCR would be playing on it. Just the characters going up and down like that on a big seesaw. Yeah, exactly like this. Doing nothing but this. And of course, the PlayStation would be doing as a track mode out there on the monitor on the outside, and that's what people see. Because we kind of got.
Realized they had shadows.
Yeah, they have shadows. Because it's not that we were jerks. It's we were jerks. I can see why GameStop and other stores stop having demos or track modes. I know what you're talking about, Ben. It's just what we did. Arcade room. Yeah.
Now we move on to another?
Now one more game. We have one more credit. We're going to use all our credits. We spent hard-earned money on this game. Hard-earned money. Oh yeah? Watch this.
I too.
Scorpion. You're the macaroni and cheese scorpion. I'm the lemon scorpion.
Lemons?
Lemon.
Come on. Go.
Scorpion.
What are you trying to do? Oh, you're trying to do the...
Fight.
We... Actually, it wasn't GameStop that I did that at. Then it was a place called Babbage's, which is pre-GameStop. Eventually, all Babbage's and Software Etc. became a GameStop. So did all EB games, for that matter. Oh! 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 I didn't knock you into the... Don't do that. No. Get your hands off the microphone. If anyone's going to do this, it'll be me. Man. Apologize for that, chat. Alright. Turning off the arcade game. That was Mortal Kombat. What you played in the arcade. It was a pretty cool game. I tell you, like I said, I really didn't get into Mortal Kombat. Was big in the arcades. I wasn't into violent games and stuff. That was the upcoming thing. It was one of the first ones. I mean, they had other games too, but they didn't have digital people, if you will. They had more like on sprites. This was the first one of the people. Still not the worst costume that it's going to be. Infrared, the infrared scorpion on Mortal Kombat 10. It's like it is a flashbang. Oh, let's turn on the console. Second. Start off with the Genesis. Yes, Genesis.
How can you be deaf with ears like those?
Look, my backwards friend. Skip the line. Never mind. How can you be deaf with ears like that? Genesis is planet forbidden. Oh, my. But at least we had that moment. At least. Oh, it's end of the game. Oh. Didn't realize that would start the game. So the console is going to be unstable in about 30 minutes. Think so? Gosh, I hope not. Green. Alright, so you go home after playing hours and hours of Mortal Kombat, and you have a Sega Genesis, so you go out to your favorite Toys R Us or Babbage's or whatever, you buy this game. Maybe Toys, Lionel Play. No, Lionel Play was. This was the game. The word code has many different thingies, and I should have read it from the get-go, but I didn't. Star Trek ruined the word Genesis. Genesis Planet.
Yes.
This was called a Mega Drive, actually,
Me too.
in other places of the world. Okay. I was going to go through the track mode. Look through that of the arcade game.
Well, you'll have to figure.
Tired? Yeah.
I'm an insomniac. I don't.
Yeah, we've had a rough week.
Mega Drive's a much better name than what?
That's what the name of Genesis? Well, they call it Genesis because it was the beginning of an era. It was the first 16-bit console. It's essentially the Sega Genesis was a System 16 board with a couple of stripped-down features. Lack thereof, I should say. It didn't do scaling, it didn't rotating, but it did. And it had power. It had speed.
It had style. It had grace.
Yes, it did. And Sonic the Hedgehog was probably the epitome of what a fast game could possibly do on console. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to hit start. You can go ahead and press start. Make sure that works. Options. We're not playing. All right. So we come home from the arcade. Hit start. Now you hit start. It looks very similar to that of the arcade game. Got nice, large digital characters. Fairly same frames. Yep. D. Kano versus Raiden in the courtyard. Realize I don't have the blood on. And the reason to buy this version was blood, but actually hit me. Good. Not sure of the code for that. Yeah, neither do I. Like I said, I do have the game. I actually had this game for Sega CD. And what was really cool that the Sega CD version actually had the soundtrack. Now,
Hey!
Sorry. Game is playing. Roll her down.
I put it down to adjust myself.
There you go. Here, take a free shot at me. No. A free shot. Not a barrage. No. Line of last.
Won anyway.
I won anyway. Oh, you got it. Oh, not me.
Aha!
Remember the move. This is the only MK I haven't played. Really? Okay. I had it, like I said, I had it for Sega CD, and it was really cool that I could actually play the soundtrack to it because it was actually part of the game. Where in the arcade game, if you brought in your little pad and pencil, and you could actually order the soundtrack game. I think it was like $15 back in the day. You got Yep, champ. And this was very close to the arcade game. It played very well, very fast on the controls. Yep, very good. You got the controls down pretty good there. This is like riding a bike for you, isn't it? Yes. What did the split? That must hurt. I hate you.
How do you hate?
Oh, I'm smug. Yes, this was the Jean-Claude Van Damme character. Eventually became Johnny Cage. Van Damme. Hit. Ah. Ah! Yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah. Oh yeah? Yeah? I didn't tweet that. I was oopsie. Nice little private. Nice little private. Actually, pretty.
Crack.
Sorry. Start. But this was the game that started a console war. Good. What did you play this game? I got it for Sega CD. I was different. And by the time Sega CD was already done and over with, Kombat even come out. Oh shit! So little Shih Tzu, the other room, break his head off. once. There is somebody in there with him.
In our dog.
They really hammed it up to the point of the movie. Well, they it literally had the one that's outsold. Now, because remember, we haven't even hit. Arena, I dare say, did a damn good job with this. Rather, they were the publisher. Probe developer. Probe did a marvelous job with what hardware they had. Characters are nice and big. The movements are nice and fast. The controls are very, very tight. The sounds are actually decent. Not perfect, but this was as close to arcade quality console as you can get back in the day. Good. Knocked him into the pit. Try to do. Not that. Okay. Good to know. Ooh. Oh, come on, let me. No. Yeah.
Fun.
I know, but I wanted to do an uppercut to throw you to the. What?
That can't. I'm giving you now. They'd all freeze and yeah.
Start one. Now, honestly, who did you play this against at the center? No. Who did you play? Who was your competitor? Your ex-husband. Did he stand a chance back in the?
Oh no!
You took out your aggression vicariously through.
I did.
I think a lot of people did. This wasn't a chill game for me. I had a different response to chill. Galaga was mine. Still is. And kind of the mindset of, I used to be a people person until I met people. Had to go wind down and play Galaga. I was never a Kano fan. Reminds me of a Destro reject. Like, you couldn't afford the whole damn mask, so you just cut the front.
No, actually.
It was not, no. Actually had stubble hair. I think he was just simply not well liked. Well,
Kidding.
we have a fellow streamer who claims that Australia is not a real.
No, well, it's her.
Does not. You aren't supposed to like Kano. He's an asshole. That's true. He is one of the villains of the game. That is absolutely true.
As a moderator, my duty to remind you, mindful of your language.
That's okay.
Neither do I.
I choose not to curse a lot. I do. Well, I will say shit and damn. And I do avoid the F word as much as possible. I'm so used to substituting with the word F. Okay, here we go. We're hitting buttons, and as you see, it's not doing stuff. So I'm not sure what happened there. He's a criminal. Funny thing is, the British slang, he says he's in the 3D. Yes, it's true. Well, they have the same They have the same slang, if you would, for certain words. They developed a few. He is so fast with the fists. Look.
Get over here!
Ta-da! Yay, Sonya! For winner?
Hammond.
Never. No, Hammond is the king of sore loser. We're talking about Richard Hammond from
Losers.
Sore Winners. Talking about Richard Hammond from Grand Tour. Top Gear. Okay.
One of us will be in.
Yeah. Good start. Which one is which? Both virtually the same. You have a bit of a blue tint where I don't. Damn. I haven't got you with a lightning bolt. Cats. Ooh. Do it. Ah. Barely. Barely. We can do this. I've won a bunch of games. You lose, your points reset. One player I did.
All of a sudden.
I remember. Sorry. Is it easier to do
All
it?
the daggers shoot.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Well, now that I'm in tremendous deep trouble, we're going to take a little break and hydrate for just a second there. Thank you all for watching right now. We're going to take a small break because we're going to switch the emulator a bit. Watch Johnny Cage beat Raiden very easily. I won't be playing. I think it's one of the few times outside media expanded for the better. Okay, I see. I didn't read that. After the movie, you can see the characters develop with personality, emotion taken from them, such as Kano going all for half American Japanese or Australian Japanese. Fit the movie. Yeah, that's true. Johnny's fear of labeled a fake, etc. Problem with Johnny Cage, I think we can all agree, Johnny Cage was just simply schmuck. No, we'll just leave it at that. What? Oh, it's waiting for me. The rather non-responsive Raiden. Be right back. Kind of learned not to hydrate with carbonated beverages. Especially the few seconds of burping I've been doing after I took my sip. I'll learn, damn it. I'll learn. Sega Genesis. Goodbye. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Yep, this was the thing to have. At Sega Genesis, you chances are might have gotten Mortal Kombat before.
Out there, that one advert
Became a dance track. Very good one too. And like I said, if you got the Sega CD version, which I think 3 of us did, you got the soundtrack. Automatically came with it, including the dance single. And now this is done by Acclaim. This was Sculptured Software was his developer. So therefore it did not have a Arena probe. And so it was a bit different. Kinda took a little bit, well, I just noticed the names are above the health bar and kind of cropped. Yeah. That looks cute. Go through track mode, longest tweaks. They try to treat it like the arcade game as much as possible. Johnny Cage. And they had animated figures for this. Martial arts superstar, blah, 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 blah. Then they track. Here comes the gameplay. Oh, Goro lives. No, it's not going to do that. Low key. Well, that's the thing now. If you had a Super Nintendo, would you buy this version? If you didn't have the Genesis, or would you buy a Genesis? Just a lot of possibilities back in those days. Consoles didn't cost that much. I mean, they were expensive, sure, but they're not like today. I kind of would love to see some of these Johnny Cage movies.
What, Jug and Fist? Jug and Fist?
Oh, we kind of did, though, didn't we? With Jean-Claude Van Damme and like some Steven Seagal and
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee will never be
Dragon.
the king. Yeah. Alright, that's for just a second. We're switching out our hydrates because I have to admit it's rather dry in here today.
I ran it.
Isn't crime and injustice the same thing? Not necessarily. No, crime is that you are. Injustice is simply it's not right. Crime is the act of doing something criminal, doing something bad or against the set established rules. Injustice has a different connotation.
Injustice is when you get away with that crime.
Yeah. Okay.
Ready.
Am I hovering over? Why is it blocking my... Ah. Yeah,
All you're doing is upwinding.
Tournament! Start button.
Okay.
Don't hit the button while you hold one. 8.
Sir, I must protest. I am not American.
Indeed. Ah. Here they have sweat. Blood. Like I said, I didn't have the blood coat on the jet. Didn't feel like looking it up either. But at least they had it available. This one, you had to use a Game Genie. Make the sweat turn red. Now, want to know it's criminal and injustice? This is a good example. You had to get a whole nother device just to get blood to be. Background looks better. The characters, it seemed to have weird. The characters are actually smaller. The background does look better, you're right. Remember, Sega Genesis only had like a 65 color palette or something like that, where this one had a 256 color palette. So yes, things were more colorful in Super Nintendo's little line of things. Sega Genesis was pretty much power and speed, and the Super Nintendo was literally sound and graphics. Just think of it this way. Sega Genesis was a Corvette, and Super Nintendo was the Mercedes. Sweat instead of blood, that's right. So both fine cars in their own right, but the Sega Genesis was all muscle, and Super Nintendo was all looks. You're still here. Well, this is the last of the two.
Oh, I mean...
Okay. How you feeling?
I'm feeling better. Thanks.
Good to know. Oh my god. Fine. Palace Gates. I feel so old knowing this franchise is about my age.
Shut up.
Oh wow. Really? Well, I got news for you. Like I said.
Shut up about their ages.
Well, this is that we know. Honestly, this is retro stuff. This is retro stuff. Ages kind of comes into play here, doesn't it? Here I am playing
You're bit,
30, 40-year-old games.
I'm unhappy.
You move forward, or? Yes, okay. My question: how did we get? Did we actually land a punch on each other? How did we get damaged? I don't get it.
It's dancing.
Ah, okay. Ruin the mood. Oh. Oh. I am cheap. Let's hear it for cheap. Anyone? Cheap? But in Mortal Kombat 9, there is some pushback for calling classic skins in Retro 2011. 2019 Mortal Kombat became retro after nearly 10 years. I surf around Twitch to see what retro games people are playing, and my definition of retro might be a bit different. Anything in the last 10 years, I don't really consider retro at all. Especially, compatibility with Windows and such like that. XP going on up to 10, now 11. For computers, for example, that's a fair assessment. For consoles is a different story because every 4 or 5 years they will actually make a new one of themselves, like Sony, 3, 4, and 5. When you consider the PlayStation 2 came out 23 years ago almost, 22 and a half years ago. Came out in October 2000. Super. Trying to get him to throw that, man. Do it. Can't do it. Ah. Can't believe you walked into the.
Hold on a second.
But retro is relative. I've been gaming for over 40 years. I consider retro to be in the first 3 generations, maybe 4 generations. Because they don't really make that stuff. A lot of stuff's passé. And like a lot of the games I play are kill screen games. We didn't call them kill screen games back in those days because we never really achieved a kill screen. We just played until we ran out of lives. games were designed for us to lose. The fighting games really changed up the arcades, though. Once they really started getting popular, virtually every arcade game you ran into in an arcade was a fighting game of sorts. Whether it be Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Mortal Kombat. Of course, Tekken came out, Virtua Fighter, Soul Edge, etc. Now, there was a game on the PlayStation called Bloody Roar. And it was, it was a really good game. A lot of fun to play. And the arcade game is called Beasterizer. And it's just, I don't think they could really market that too well for home use. I'm surprised that game actually made it. Call me cheap. The 3D games started coming out. Mortal Kombat even went into 3D with Mortal Kombat 4. Of course, Capcom with their Street Fighter series, then their hybrid series that came out there with like X-Men vs. Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, that kind of good stuff. And even some of their offshoot branches like what is it, Darkstalkers, and then they had a subsequent set of series. Elbow me, right? There were a lot of fighting games. A lot of fighting games. This is like the beginning of a lot of that. We're hitting the button and nothing's happening. Oh wait. Ah, C button. C button.
Doesn't matter.
Matters? Okay. I see the Raiden typo began here. That's just what you call it, a typo. That's just what they spelled it here. So, as far as this game is concerned, it is the way it's spelled here, R-A-Y. R-A-I, excuse me. Remember, they spelled combat with a K. And in pretty much popularity or writing circles, if it spells with a K, it's funny. So therefore, this was funny combat.
What are doing babality?
Okay. No, babality's friendship. For friendship? Friendship. Again? I did get Mortal Kombat 3 for my PlayStation. That was a lot of fun. Of course, I did love Mortal Kombat Trilogy. That was a very fine game, as far as this. But when I had people over the house, I would let other people play the game. I just pretty back and watch. Because we all hung out with each other after work and stuff like that. Hell, it'd be 1 in the morning and we'd still be over at the big arcade. Get our stuff.
Okay.
So, now that we've played both of these, now that you've got to relive your experience with both of these games, which one would you have chosen? If you only had to choose one. You and I did the same thing. You only had to choose one. No. I would choose Genesis. And this was.
I would choose. That would be that's my preferred.
SNES. Okay, we have a dissenting opinion here. So we got Vin with SNES, London Lass, and myself are Genesis. So out of curiosity, Vin, why would you choose Super Nintendo? I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a very fine addition. Don't get me wrong. Why would you say Super Nintendo? But now on this channel, there really aren't any wrong opinions, unless you say something like Superman 64 is the greatest game on Earth. That I will declare wrong.
I love E.T.
Or I love E.T. Well, I love E.T. for the wrong reason. It was that bad of a game.
Yes.
But
I never had Super.
Well, to get the most of the Sega Genesis, you had to know the code. That's true. That, in fact, they even went with the code. That is true. Oh God. Ah. Boo. It's like a mirror.
Oh.
Don't exist now. Then you get rid of the source. Trust me.
Won?
You won. My father's uncle's cousins work at Nintendo. That's true. But this was one for both consoles. This was a good example of, can I get arcade quality at home? This game, yeah, you could very easily. I bought both versions. I'm a game collector. Use shit like that. Ask me how many different versions of Pac-Man I have. Might be surprised with the answer. It's more than you think. That's it. I mean, this, however, was one of the reasons why the ESRB is out there. Knowing that, you know, video games were... The establishment was that video games are for kids. Then you've seen kids playing games. Realistic-looking people are knocking the snot out of each other, killing each other. You know, throwing them into the pit with a good punch, uppercut at the end of the round, depending on the board. This and a game called Night Trap, which starred the late Dana Plato. About you are in control of a security system, you have control of trapdoors. Stalkers are pretty much kidnapping and... Stop working? Oh wow. You won the game. I'm curious. I hate the AI. Always hated the AI. And there's another 25 cents, but I'm out of money, Vin. Now this virtual currency stuff, it pretty much broke me. Kano wins. All right, ready to hang up the old thing. This is the last of the two-player games. Is that everything else? Is one?
I'm so okay.
This is. I will now. I'm going to switch it up in just a second. Game Boy stuff. It came out on the Game Boy. Really?
You will.
We're going to take a break for a second. I'm just going to kill the mic. Let you watch the beautiful track mode.
No! Don't kill me!
Right back.
Johnny Cage.
Put yourself over there?
Yes.
I can turn down the microphone just a little. Now back to where I usually sit. I'm back where the mic usually is sitting. With me here. Okay. I think we had enough of the Super NES. So, anyway, going back to what's going on here. So that was the console wars. You had the Sega Genesis, you had the Super Nintendo, and you got to play either one, or if you actually were really, really, really involved with video games, you did me, and you just pretty much played both. I'm now talking on stand because I killed the mic. I didn't kill the mic! Didn't kill the mic. I felt like a fool that it took me 15 years to realize Cano Ball was play on Cannonball. Oh, really? You seem to know a lot about these games, too. That's pretty cool, man. You are a welcome member of the community. Thank you very much for coming in. This is rather a quiet day. Pretty much are my only chatter, which is fine. I have no objections. An old game. What can I tell you? Mortal Kombat. But in order to fully enjoy your Mortal Kombat experience, and you wanted to really, you know what, you had to have Mortal Kombat day and night. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Wherever you go, you had to have your Mortal Kombat go with you. What you do, you go into your favorite store, you see it on the shelf and say, my God, I have one of these. I must play it. Yes, indeed, the Game Boy. Now, I don't have a portable thing, so we're just going to use a regular screen for this. But, it exists. And it launched right away without anything on the throttle, isn't it? Sure. Now, this particular version... I haven't put up... Let me pause that for a second. God. If you heard the sounds just now, you heard that Metal Gear. Mortal Kombat and Metal Gear, at least Metal Gear Solid 1, I have played way too many times. I remember playing the original Metal Gear. Thank you. Thank you. Is that the GOAT? Yes, it was. Oh my goodness. Sheep. Sheep. I see it now. Sheep, stupid. I remember playing Metal Gear, the original, for the Nintendo, and that game was pretty freaking awesome. Mr. Chandler and I played that a great deal. Yeah, sure. I didn't say first name, did I? Second game, on the other hand, Snake's Revenge. God, that was... Played an emulation game with the HD collection for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. It was hard as heck. They were hard as heck. Metal Gear was indeed a hard game. No doubt about it. It was designed to be that way. It was an espionage type game. Which of these did I use? See everything. Don't see captured. Because I haven't captured it. Well, there you go. Now, there's your Mortal Kombat. I'm going to restart it. Soft reset. I really have to appreciate the music that they tried to do with this one. Remember, this is an 8-bit thing. Now, we're playing 16-bit versions of it. So if you want an 8-bit Mortal Kombat, because they really didn't make this for the Nintendo Entertainment System. But damn it, they made it for the Game Boy. My God. Yeah. Wow. Good heavens. You know what? I'm going to turn this puppy up.
Never mind.
We have to enjoy the wonderful 8-bit sound of Mortal Kombat for Game Boy. Because there's no substitutions. I have 6 credits. Like 3 games. Press start. Choose your fighter player 1. No sound. Thanks for the bits, London Lass. I see it. I saw it in the thing for the screen. The Kano. Now there's no 2-player, just 1 player. And it seems like the sound has just disappeared. Oh my god. Sound just ended. Look, you hear it? You hear the game? Let's see. As you can see, it is smooth. It is, you know, the controls are quite tight. I would mistake this for the arcade game. If this were like a taste test, I would say, you know what, this is my arcade game. So this is what happens when you have too much of a good thing. If you must have Mortal Kombat in your life 24/7, and you went out and bought this game, this is what happens. And then you have to ask yourself, was it worth it? You have to ask yourself, am I proud of myself that I actually spent 30 bucks on this thing? And if you said yes, then you have fully been engrossed in Mortal Kombat Edge. They've won. That's simple. If they've won, you gotta remember this is a Game Boy, so there's no 4 buttons. You have start, select, A and B. So you don't even have the right button count. Actually did that. Hey, finish me. And I finish, and oh, I didn't go down to the 5th. Nope. No wonder it starts you with 6 credits. It knows you're going to lose. I'm going to go ahead and hit start to continue. You use up one of my continues, even though I lost in the first round, because. Now see, this must be Sub-Zero. This must be Scorpion. What's the difference between Sub-Zero and Scorpion on a black and white game? You have to ask yourself that. Very important. Write this down. What's the difference between Sub-Zero and Scorpion on the Game Boy Classic Mortal Kombat? One looks straight ahead, one looks. That's a fair answer. London Last said one looks straight ahead, one looks left. I'll take that as an answer. I like that answer. I really do. Thank you. I'll give you 10 points for that. I don't know. I don't know. Notice I'm still on the same board. Are there other boards? I'm also curious. Does this have an attract mode? They actually bother putting in a attract mode to the title screen. I think this is a good sign that do not make fighters for systems without 4 face buttons. Yeah. I mean, this is. Now I am a little surprised how big the sprites are for the Game Boy. I mean, this is like a double sprite. Ask yourself, do I really want this? I hope to God you said no. Now I have a Game Boy. In fact, I have all versions of Game Boy. I'm not going to even care. Let's see what the next board looks like. We have to see the backgrounds. Some old games cannot judge due to emulators. So if anyone actually have, I sold this. Then I'll test. I'm wearing a stack of Bibles. I sold this game. The game does exist. People really did buy the Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat. Like me, I can't figure out. Oh, look at that. Much better. It almost kind of reminds me, the animation almost reminds me of that of a Game & Watch. You know, on-off type of animation. Ay, ay, ay. Notice how the timer is going in real time. Take that, Raiden. Ah. Almost. This one. Tell you what, then you can ask your friends around. Did you know? Have you heard of the Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat? Knowing your age, you were around when this came out. But now this is the same thing that people like to play Tetris on. Play Kirby on. Kirby actually started off on the Game Boy. Pokemon, of course, the game for the Game Boy, aside from Tetris. I win. But as you said, this is not built for fighting games. It's incredibly choppy. It's slow. It sounds horrible. It's almost a parody of Mortal Kombat, but it's not. And to the credit, the people who made this version was Arena and Probe. People who made the Genesis version. So I imagine, considering, I'm sorry, Lefty came. Hey, Lefty, how you doing? You can only stay for a short time. Oh, good. You can watch me enjoy this fantastic rendition of Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy. As I was saying, you know, if you had to have 24/7 Mortal Kombat, eat, sleep, dream, everywhere you go, have it. Well, this was the end result of that. You have to ask yourself, are you happy now? You have to ask yourself, are you happy now? Technical limitation, but saying something's wrong given the advancement of the 90s. Oh, I look at it this way. It's like the Star Wars logic of merchandising. If they make it, you know, if you have it, you have to have it. You will buy it. That's simple. If they made it for it, you will buy it. That's not necessarily true. Now, I mean, if you really wanted to play a portable version of Mortal Kombat back in the day, you know, you've always bought a Sega Nomad. Hades, how you doing? They tried with this version. Sure did. Music is interesting. No, Lefty, I'm glad you called it music. I think that's generous. Fair. This just screams so... Oh, first gate. Oh, man. Dime store meatloaf? Yeah. But like I said, back in this day and age, I actually was selling video games. So yes, we did have this on my shelf. People would ask me what do I think about the game, and I had the habit of speaking my mind, not saying, "Oh, it's the greatest game on earth, buy it now." No, I didn't do that. I say by you picking it up off the shelf, it's the most. And this was one of the games I would actually say that to. It was that bad. And Ford claimed, you know, wow, they made some decent games over there in their lifetime. This ain't one of them. It's just simply merchandising to sell for a quick buck. The music actually reminds me of ER Kung Fu. Yes! Yes! What a great game, too. ER Kung Fu. I'd rather play ER Kung Fu than this mess. Man. On the Game Boy. And game over. I'm going to go through all 6 of my credits. Torture myself with this. Let's play Sonya. See if Sonya's any better. ER Kung Fu. Thank you very much. That brings a smile to my face. Just thank you. You consider, as I said, Game Boy only had 2 action buttons, A and B. And look how swift that uppercut is. That is a non-evasive uppercut. If ever I saw one. See that? Raiden is just that good. Oh, he's going to move first. I was wondering who's going to move first. Just stand there. Well, it is what it is, you know. Oh, look at that. I don't know how he evaded that super fast uppercut. Oh, that's a good question. What was that thing called? The Nokia actually had a handheld system that was shaped like a taco. You held it up to your ear like it was a second ear. We tried to sell that in my store. We actually had a third ear, yeah. We actually had that in my store. We tried to sell it. It was horrible. You had to actually take off the whole black plate just to insert the cartridge. N-Gauge, thank you. I have not thought about the N-Gauge. Mercifully, I've not thought about the N-Gauge in so long, and one of you had to bring that up. Oh man. See, I even have the Gamecom. That's from Tiger Electronics. It was their first attempt at making an interchangeable thingamajig. Took cartridges, and they even had Duke Nukem for it. Lights out and all that. I have not thought of the N-Gauge so freaking long. I remember in the UK I saw some Nokia phones. Yes, thank you. Oh, Ben, you brought that up. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, we kept one. Actually kept one in the drawer. We didn't even have it under lock and key. We had no fear whatsoever that no one would take that thing. Okay. Oh, good. We got Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Okay, take a look, folks. Okay, so Sub-Zero looks like a blurry version of Scorpion, or a non-detailed version. Okay, that's the difference. They even have the same overall pose. Okay, yeah, look at that. Okay. They're negative one another. I didn't even keep the demo version. I mean, I always say that there's one console you can never give me. I will not accept it. You could leave it on my front stoop, and I will send it back to you. If your phone ends up with such an accessory that your phone becomes bulky, do not invest. Well, that's the thing, Ben. Bulky phones were the thing. They were all bulky. The Nokia phone was the phone. The N-Gauge was Nokia's trying to making a more entertaining phone. But the smartphone didn't exist yet. This is long before Apple came up with the iPhone. Everything was a flip phone or a BlackBerry, you name it. Flashbacks to the Boomerang Xbox. But when you look at the Game Boy was out literally for about 14 years in its original form. Incredible. Not counting the Game Boy Color, not counting the Game Boy Advance or whatever like that. Not counting the Super Game Boy for the Super Nintendo. The Game Boy. It was out for a very long time. Thank you. Thank you for the wrong sticker. It was the right sticker? I still have 2 crap. No, it's reasonable. Ugh. You see the backgrounds are fairly limited. That kicks, that punches, that crouches, and putting them together causes the guard. Thank you, Sonia. So you guard by hitting both A and B. Even flipping. Yep. Not that I don't miss certain things, but I'm glad these are memories I didn't really have. You know what? I can't even finish this. Sorry. I can't even finish this. Oh my goodness. Yep. Couldn't even finish that. You know, what kills me, Lefty, there are so many good Game Boy games out there. Metroid 2 was a Game Boy game. Zelda had a beautiful Game Boy game. The Mario Land, which really wasn't, you know, originally Super Mario, but it was brilliant on the Game Boy. And there are countless other good Game Boy games out there. This is not one of them. I love Mortal Kombat, and even then, I'd never try that. Why did they try Mortal Kombat? It's because it was one of the top games of that particular era. It's sold on anything, and unfortunately, it's sold on here. Now, I did not recommend the game. I hated returns. I hated returns. That simple. That simple. But there you go. But if you were lucky enough to have a Game Gear now. Have you seen the Game Gear? Game Gear is a Sega portable handheld system. Remember, Vin, you asked me what the hell is a Game Gear. Lefty says, I played a version of Mortal Kombat for the... Oh my god, you're kidding. Texas Instruments? That was... Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, I can see that. Knowing the TI-82. Knowing the specs on that, yeah, I can see that. You have a game... So do I. I have a Game Gear as well. Honestly, I have Sega Nomad. Sega Nomad was a portable Genesis screen. It's like a Game Gear, except it's a Genesis game. I will play that instead. I will play that instead. But yeah, Game Gear. I love the Game Gear. Game Gear was awesome. Columns, one of my favorite games. I love playing Columns on that. But we were talking about earlier when we were playing the Genesis and Super Nintendo editions. This was what the game console war. Which one would you prefer, Genesis or SNES? Vin 362 here said he wanted the SNES. Or London last night wanted the Genesis. As I said earlier, Scream's first week sold well. I can only picture the amount of second-hand carts. Yeah, we were doing trade-ins back in those days. There were a few traded in. They weren't much. They weren't worth much at all. Game Boy games trade in poorly, just because of the vast number of them, and they sell cheap as they are anyway. The other week when I was listing our systems, I found a Super Game Boy. I have no idea we had that. You had that for the Super Nintendo. You had no idea you had that, huh? I liked the Super Game Boy. I really did. It was nice to see a Game Boy game on a bigger screen. I thought that was fantastic. I love the game, just like the Game Boy Advance adapter you could buy for your GameCube. Well, my wife must have had it. Oh, there you go. Well, if you married somebody who had a Super Game Boy, good for you.
Good for you. That's rare. Good for you. I actually said to my wife, we used to work together, and this is before we were even dating. I said, I'm going to marry the girl who's impressed with the number of video games I have, with my video game collection. Ultimately, I've collected well over 1,000 games. And I said, I'm going to marry the girl who's impressed by that. And I did. So there you go. I played the Game Boy Advance adapter for the Nintendo 64 and spent a lot of time on Pokemon as a kid on it. Sure. Absolutely. I have different feelings about Pokemon, Ben. You as a gamer, and you as the receiving end of that, I can understand your logic behind that. My being the selling person, the seller of that game, I have a completely different opinion of Pokemon. Starts with annoy, ends with ying. I don't have bids, so I just have to imagine Josh's voice saying, "Cool story, bro. Thank you." Oh my god, I got tell stories. I'll tell this one again. I've told this on a few other streams. We wanted to see how fast or how hard Pokemon could sell. So we took a flap of a shipping box, the cardboard box, they have the 4 flaps on top. We took a flap, we cut it off, and then we folded it into a triangle like a trombone. And on one end, I hastily drew a Pikachu, and we kind of rubber banded on one side. The other side we left open like a telescope, and we simply call it the Pokoscope.
Cool story, bro.
And the Pokoscope was poorly written, even the S was backwards. And we put a used price tag on it because we had the pricing guns back in those days. We were put $14.99 on the thing, and we literally had to tell people you can't buy this. Literally had to stop people from wanting to buy this. That bad. I grabbed a Pokemon because the anime jumped the shark with me when Bork was written out. Okay. You have to forgive me. I'm not that familiar with Pokemon. I know a lot of kids who are not that much younger than I, however, are. I remember at work, where I currently work, when Pokemon Go come out, and people were in the hallway playing the damn thing. And even one of the other people there said, "Are you playing Pokemon Go in the hallways?" And the guy says, "Guilty as charged." And the first guy says, "You're just part of the problem." And I think that's a good summary of Pokemon Go. A fantastic summary of Pokemon Go. If I had to write what do I think of that game? Okay, so for the Game Gear, get this. I really do not see the point of Pokemon Go if you already had a handheld that used it. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people gave up their handhelds. A lot of people gave up their handhelds, and we all had smartphones now, right? And so Nintendo saw the success of other things that could easily adapt to your smartphone, and why not? Never traded in your consoles or games. Damn straight. I never did. Never traded in a game. Never traded in a console. Everything from the only thing I really don't have anymore, fortunately because it broke and I couldn't fix it, was the Super Pong that I had. That was the very first thing I had. I wanted to hand them down when we have kids. Exactly. But see, my kids already have a lot of that stuff, Lefty. They got my PlayStation. They got some of my games. I've given some of my games out. I tell them, please take care of it. A lot of these are first print. So, but my kids have taken over. My daughter has a PS4. My son has a Switch. Daughter does not have any desire right now for a PS5. She may down the road. My dad gave me his copy of Metal Gear Solid, LOL. Oh, good. Metal Gear Solid, oh, that Gear here. That's it. I read it Gear anyway. Now, we take a look at this. This is the Game Gear version. As you can see, it's full of color and it's full of speed. And it's from oddly enough, it's from the very same people who made the Game Boy version. This is still an 8-bit console. Game Gear essentially is a Sega Master System with a really tiny screen. Already better than the Game Boy. Yes, it is. Very easily already better than the Game Boy. Let's press start. And I will start off, and you can tell the difference between and Sub-Zero. So I'll play Raiden. I will play it easy because I'm a wimp. Then we're going to go down the total bar. I like to do as sort of a non-like system. Go ahead and get the NES. Good grade to unlock more games. I got into trouble with video games. I'll try to tell this story as I play this. I got into a lot of trouble with video games with my dad. My dad actually was the one who introduced me to video games. I gotta hit a button. And because he had a friend of his who was, and of course I was given gifts and stuff like that. Well, because my allowance. After a while, I could afford to buy my own game, sure, but I got into trouble because I was doing more video games than anything else, including school, outside play, and whatever like that. I got grounded from video games a couple times, literally. Couldn't play anything. It got bad later on where I almost flunked my junior year in high school. And it was kind of a wake-up call because I've never done anything even remotely like that before. I got an N64, moved into my room when I did well for school, but bad behavior, no controller, so I kind of got tired of not getting into trouble. Exactly. Sounds like you. Okay. I think we all did that. From the older generations. So my Atari was taken away, and my Nintendo eventually got taken away and stuff like that. But having that my mother was a school teacher, and I'm about to flunk my junior high year. That was quite embarrassing, and that certainly was a wake-up call. Especially being that I was in advanced classes of sorts, trigonometry and physics and all that kind of crap. So my senior year, I turned around and I kind of put the games away. I did play them every once in a while, but when I had time, when there was time, then it literally was like cold turkey. It's tough. And I graduated with a 3.7, so that was quite a jump. Let's play Sub-Zero. Let's go. Games. Oh. Ah, already looking better. Sounds are interesting. Sports look good. Hey, I'm... There you go. Still Yari Kung Fu Jimmy. You gotta remember, it's an 8-bit system, 8-bit sounds. Absolutely. Oh, it does sound like Yari Kung Fu. 8-bit Mortal Kombat. This is the superior. Finish him. Superior 8-bit Mortal Kombat. So, if you had a Game Gear, which a lot of people didn't, they were all playing Game Boy. And you had to have that Mortal Kombat. Had to get that fixed. This was it. This was your Mortal Kombat. But we all had a Game Boy, remember? I love a Yari Kung Fu just to make that clear. I used to play the shit out of that on the Commodore. I played on the Nintendo. Just to be fair. Now my multicade is Pac-Man that's sitting in our living room. Alright, Lefty, you have a good one. I'll see you. Thanks for hanging around. Appreciate it, man. As I'm saying, I have a multicade and this Pac-Man in the living room, and I actually have Yari Kung Fu in there. Fell down because I didn't use deodorant. Did you see that? Gotta love that music. Put Bob Seger in the background, that old rock and roll. Don't think it really fits this game, but why not? Yes! Oh! Goofy! Ah! I'm gonna get a video game jukebox with all the video game music. I think we should add this, but just because. For all the wrong reasons. In my music library, I have a folder called the Jukebox from Hell. All the rotten songs that have been overplayed just flat out suck. For video game music, this might be in there. Oh. Oh. Damn. I'm being out-cheaped. Almost. Not out-cheaped. Not me. Oh. Oh. Almost. I tell you special movies, but I have no idea how to convert them into control scheme. Yeah, it won't work here too easily because I don't have the 5-button controller. So yeah, not gonna work out too well. When you consider that, again, much like the Game Boy, you have a very limited control scheme. In the pit? No pit. But I appreciate that, Ben. I'm actually going up the pole here. Now, like I said, if you had a Sega Master System, which was the first console to come out in the 3rd generation gaming, the Game Gear and the Sega Master System were very comparable to each other. They practically were the same hardware. This one had a program for a different resolution because it had a rather small screen, versus one for a console, but it had the same backbone power and all that crap. This would have been pretty good on Master System, I think. For the 8-bit, because that Master System had a very good color palette. It had a 256 color palette, much like the Super Nintendo would. Its counterparts were the Nintendo Entertainment System, which did not have a superior color palette, and the Atari 7800, also not a superior color palette. This could have translated pretty well, I think, for an 8-bit console. Ooh. This is going to be my last game, I think. Oops. Oh my goodness. Damn it, thanks. Murdering me. Finish me. Oh wow. What? I'm so big all of a sudden. I think not. Let it go off. 2, 1. love the music. Gotta love the music. Oh man. Gotta love that music. Well, there you have it. Those are Mortal Kombat console and arcade alike. Not all gems. Not all bad. But it worked. It worked out. I think so. So, we have Ben, who wanted the Super Nintendo version over the Genesis. London last night wanted the Genesis over the Super Nintendo. Either way, in my opinion, I'm going to ignore the handhelds. Either way, you won. You got a fine edition of a video game, certainly comparable to that of the arcade game. They both did their job masterfully. And I've seen plenty of translations, even in the 16-bit era, where the home version did not come close to the arcade version. It looked good, but it didn't play good, or the other way around, or whatever. But Mortal Kombat certainly earned its keep. Can't get the cabinet either from One-Up or Plug and Play. Stick with the Genesis, Super Nintendo. Absolutely. And I'll even endorse the Sega CD version, which essentially was the Genesis game with the actual soundtrack. Plus, you also got the video, by the way. The Game Boy can become lost media. I think the Game Boy was a perfect paperweight for the cartridge, anyway. If you want to keep like something small down on your desk, you just take the Game Boy cartridge and put it there for safekeeping. I can't say anything positive about the Game Boy version whatsoever. That thing was a that was steaming pile of shit. But oof, bad. Game Boy, Game Gear version, however, was pretty interesting. I've never seen something so interesting be so bad, except maybe Atari Pac-Man. Top Fry developed the Atari Pac-Man, and he had such. Problem is that like in Mortal Kombat's case, Pac-Man was the top game of the time. It was doing all kinds of money in the arcades. Everyone has played it. Everyone has seen it. They know what to expect, and of course, he had the limitations of the Atari. As they say, he did what he could. Could he have done better? Perhaps. Did he have time to go better? Probably not. Atari was quite demanding with their games. Prime example of that, E.T. In fact, if anything, that's the epitome of trying to rush a game out for your audience. E.T. only had about 6 weeks. Start to finish. 6 months. Game Gear isn't so bad. I think would be a modern for the 90s port of a game from the 80s. That's a fairly good assessment. Game Gear was such a great little handheld. It was a backlit color screen, and there weren't too many examples of that. Otherwise, he had the Atari Lynx that came out a little bit later. That was also backlit in color, but Game Boy was always a black and white thing, and it didn't get a backlit screen until much later in the Game Boy Advance era. You had to actually buy a lamp to light up your Game Boy. It's kind of weird, but there that is. It's the inferior of the handhelds, but it sold the most games for it. Like I said, if you ever want to see what a fine example of a Game Boy game, look up Metroid 2. That game is absolutely amazing. Having said that. Well, that's it, folks. We're going to wrap it up here. Let's see if I can actually raid somebody. I know it's before the top of the hour. Don't know if anyone's going to be actually... because I know some people start streaming at 2 o'clock Eastern, which we're about 4 minutes shy of at the moment. I drop some more frame rates. No, I'm not frame dropping for one. Up there I go. Yeah, I'm frame dropping. Well, that's the way it works. Let's see, who have I got here? Nina, ready to team. I might just end the game. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Oh my goodness. I don't think I'm going to do that. All right. We're just going to end it up for later. Thanks for watching. If you happen to catch the pod here, whisper me what you think. You also can catch my YouTube page. YouTube page is all the videos that are no longer on Twitch. Now that I'm affiliate, the streams last a little bit longer here on Twitch, but that's fine. But nevertheless, though, you can catch me, catch my other stuff on my YouTube channel. I also have a previous YouTube channel, simply Super Pack as opposed to Super Pack Junior. Super Pack is the Match Game Tribute channel that I put together literally about 16 years ago, I think. Maybe a little longer. I have an Instagram page. You can see all the crap that I've been collecting over the past 40 plus years as far as gaming. And like what you saw, give me a follow. I greatly would appreciate it. And we're going to see you next time. Oh, by the way, before I go, don't forget to check out the Retro Games Fan Facebook page. That's all we talk about. We talk about games from the beginning of time up until the end of the 20th century. So there's a lot of gaming consoles in there, plus a ton of games to talk about. Arcade, console, pinball, anything related to that era too. Merchandise. You know, got your favorite pin, or you got your favorite action figure, collectible, whatever. I put a number of pictures there myself, my stuff. Check it out, and that's pretty much it. So pretty sure might find and rediscover some stuff that you hadn't seen in a long time. Having said that, we're going to go ahead and end the stream now. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.